Hi, we're Pierce the Veil, and we're going to tell you some crazy Warped Tour tour stories. In the shadows of my life.
Alright, let's start.
Okay.
So seeing as we've just wrapped up our first ever Warped Tour, we're gonna just kind of reflect on our favorite memories and experiences. I think my favorite show of Warped Tour was the one-off Zambia show. Because it was just... Yeah, it was like culture shock, but it felt so right at the same time.
I mean, they were all singing the lyrics in a different language, but it felt good. It felt good.
I personally struggled with the heat.
Yeah.
And then I looked over at who was doing our monitor mixes, and it was actually just a prairie dog. That was quite cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That must have been why it sounded so good that day, because prairie dogs are notoriously good at mixing.
They've got arms designed for mixing boards.
For faders.
Yeah. And then they just kind of...
Yeah. So I think my favourite bit of Warped Tour is the barbecues at the end of the day, where where they select one of the Ernie Ball stage bands, and they get roasted alive.
I mean, you'd always been thinking about trying cannibalism, though. It wasn't until Warped Tour that you really thought you'd give it a go.
Warped Tour was great, other than the fact, our bus wasn't big enough.
That's very true.
Our bus was not big enough.
I had to deal with other people, which I'm not a huge fan of.
We had to share the stage with people.
Yeah.
We're just too good to be having to share stages.
We need to always headline as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that about? Not headlining every day.
Yeah.
No, it's just wrong, really.
It's ridiculous. Mayday Parade should be opening for us in the fall.
I think one of the really cool things about Warped Tour is being able to see all the behind the scenes stuff. Personal favourite one was is seeing Andy Biersack spin his cocoon every night, and getting into that and watching him emerge as a butterfly every morning. It's quite lovely.
That's how he managed to maintain his youthful looks, I've heard. It's the cocoon.
The cocoon.
Yeah.
The cocoon!
Wake up to every morning. The whole of Warped Tour screams, "The
The
cocoon!"
cocoon!
And then I know it's time to get up.
Did everyone enjoy that off day we had where we went volcano jumping?
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't that the day that the owl flew in?
No.
Or it flew into the bus.
No, it Hedwig.
No,
Delivered.
no.
They delivered the post.
Yeah, Polo opened the door and the owl came in.
Obviously, yours.
We've only had a few
mine
postal
didn't
delivery
arrive.
days.
The owl must have dropped it.
Yeah. Or he used it all to clean its beak.
They get dirty mid-flight with all those flies.
Yeah. Does anyone remember the day that we found the dead walrus in the air conditioning vent?
Yeah, because we saw it because its tusk was hanging out.
Yeah. We'd gone really off route and ended up in f***ing Alaska or somewhere for some reason. And obviously it just obtained a walrus in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
I don't know what...
It's cold enough in there for it to survive.
You remember that one show that was going really badly, and then we realized we were just playing the Dutch Embassy?
I'd like to play unicorn and shark at the same time.
Play Unishark.
What, you're kind of you've got a leg on each stage and you're in the middle of the stages?
Yeah.
Get them to put a bridge between the two.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Play Narwhal stage in the middle, because it's like a shark with it.
Ah.
Yeah. Then you can always do what you've always wanted to do: set the stages on fire.
Yeah.
That'd be quite fun.
Jimi Hendrix sets his guitar on fire. Monster Munson sets the stage alight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not just with his music.
Literally.
With literally embers. There'll be a whole conflagration. I'm trying to think of other good times that we've had. I'm really struggling, even in these 10 minutes, to try and pretend that I like you guys.
I feel like the clock's run out on the time I can spend with you. So I'm just going to go.
You've gone and done that then, haven't you?
Get a bit more space now that is gone. There you go. Everyone good?
Yeah.
Cool.
I forget which city it was in, but do you remember when Warped Tour had Bring Your Parent to Warped Tour Day, and then Mike Kennedy's dad got in a fight with Brandon from Handgun's mom? And
that was pretty bad.
That was really
that
bad.
Was savage.
There were mallets involved. Bo from Bless the Fall?
No.
Does anyone else remember the time that we just found his kid behind the TV?
Yeah.
That was Bo!
No, it was his kid. Bo can't fit behind that.
I thought
Don't
it was
be
a
an idiot.
MacBook.
I'm
Did we
talking
find
about a
this kid in there or
living
the MacBook?
baby.
Where did we find the MacBook?
Behind the other TV.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a different day. We just heard screaming from behind the TV.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just like a horror film.
Which is normal, usually.
Yeah,
But it was a different.
it was just a baby.
Yeah, it was
I heard that kid aged at least 7 years in just 1 hour that day.
Benjamin Bow Button.
Yeah,
Warped Tour do that.
Warped Tour will do that,
Those bloody
especially to
posters.
babies.
Found this tour, but I keep getting like I keep going blank. My mind keeps going blank. So-
I keep having blackouts.
Have you had them?
Yeah.
Have you had them?
No. Are you just having blank spaces? Because I'll write your name.
Does anybody else remember that one really, really weird riff-raff set where he just?
You're gonna have to narrow that one down.
No, the one where he just did his taxes on stage and didn't say anything, and then he left.
To be fair, it was a modern art piece. Did he say at the end how much he made for that?
Well, he only made 4 million last year.
Oh yeah, that was it. Only 4 million.
I don't know how much he netted, but because I'm pretty sure
But
that was his gross
he
number.
grossed 4
He
million.
grossed 4 million. And there was that day. Do you remember that day, Foley? You woke up without a beard, and I woke up with a beard.
Oh, that was so weird.
God
Good
knows
thing.
what would
Good
happen.
thing you didn't realise. You'd have freaked out.
I would have crawled into my kick drum and cried.
Would you
myself
have
to
ripped it
sleep.
off my face?
Yeah, maybe. I had one of those blank spaces again.
Oh God! I have to just write your name.
Remember that set where you tied a load of elastic bands around your tongue and sang?
It was
when?
pretty tough. I mean, it cut off the circulation to
Hey,
the
look,
tongue.
just put them on. There. Show us.
Well, it was like, yeah, I kind of used these. I thought the lisp was pretty bad.
Can you help?
Ah.
Right, now, what line was it that you sang that...
Don't.
Tell me again! Tell me every way I found
No, I
you!
sang that line. You weren't singing that.
If you can't trust a liar, how could you trust me again?
I can't believe that was only this morning.
Do you feel the surge of vitamins from those?
Yeah, they taste pretty good. I actually quite like the taste of rubber bands.
Have you tried that?
No, can't say I have.
They're not vegan.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they are, actually.
Do you remember when handguns actually started firing handguns on stage?
That was a mess.
Look
I
at my
got-
clock! Look at my clock! Pow, pow, pow!
I got shot in the foot that day.
Yeah.
I couldn't do any jumps for at least a week at Warped
Well,
Tour.
there were bullets ricocheting off everything.
Yeah.
Do you remember that time Drama Club tried to start an actual drama club?
And they actually tried, and
Oh,
it
yeah,
was great.
well, I mean, they had the intention. It was there. I mean,
Did you go?
No.
Isn't one of the people that went to that class cast in
Game of Thrones.
No, it wasn't Game of Thrones. Castaway 2. You know, with Tom Hanks, there's going to be a Castaway 2. Did you hear that?
What, Wilson the movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's called
Wilson's Return.
that. And it's got Tom Hanks in it, and then I think the person that went to the drama club, I think it's Kosher Dills, and he's been cast as Wilson the second.
Oh, how good for Kosha.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I saw him this morning.
Does anyone else remember that time that someone got married during Pierce the Veil set, and Vic literally pierced her veil but ended up stabbing her in the eye? That was a
Did
sight.
you see it?
Yeah. Like, that white wedding dress turned to red very quickly. Well, speaking of dying, do you remember the day that Andy nearly died, when we had to do an emergency operation on him, and we had to put a pacemaker in?
How the hell am I not going to remember that?
I know, that was a stressful day. There was no sterilisation.
No,
They could have gone really wrong.
Where
Throw
about my heart?
Yeah, throw him onto the table, crack a bottle open the f***er up. Sterilisation.
Gangrene was a little unfortunate, though.
Well, we got antibiotics, didn't we? It's all good. All fine in the end.
Tomato.
Do you remember the day?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
So, Patty, would you do Warped Tour again?
I'd do Warped Tour again. I mean, no.
But you do it again, but no.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I understand.
I would only do it again if we got our own stage and we had a bus each. Actually, no, I wouldn't even want a bus each. If we could, like, literally fly from day to day and I didn't have to see you apart from the half an hour that we were all on stage together.
That's fair enough. Maybe I'll have to have a word with Andy Pierce and see whether I can get that cocoon with him. We don't need to do it. Because I feel like we need to bond a bit more.
I mean, you've got the starting point of you're both called Andy.
Exactly.
I think that's a good jumping off point.
Yo, I want to
Friendship.
learn how to do a cocoon just like you. Can I?
Think about all the things you could talk about. You're both named Andy.